Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to tonight's podcast. I am excited for our conversation on tonight. I have an amazing guest, and I want to make sure that I am sharing this podcast. So while I am sharing this podcast, go ahead and like and share with your friends and family because I have a great guest, okay? Gene Jr., and he is going to introduce himself here momentarily. All right, Gene, I have it shared on my page now, so you can definitely go ahead and share it on your page. So again, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you tuned in to last week episode, we were talking about relationships, unhealthy relationships, and what healthy relationships should look like. So tonight, I am accompanied by Gene Jr. And tonight we're going to be talking about breaking relationship patterns that don't serve God. So good evening, Gene.
Hey, how you doing?
How was your day today?
It was great. The enemy tried to keep me from coming on, but I'm here.
Okay.
Thank
You're
God.
here, and that's the main thing. That's the main thing. So, Gene, if you want to, can you just give a brief introduction of yourself? I like to bring guests on that have unique backgrounds, who've overcame various barriers and challenges. And listen, again, I know that you have a story. You can't go in depth of everything, but can you
Yes,
just give them a brief synopsis on who this Gene Jr. is?
absolutely. I'm Jane Jr., 43 years old, married father, four beautiful children, one son, three daughters. Um, Grew up in the city of Fayetteville, North Carolina, born in the Bonnie Doon area. Then we migrated to Murchison Townhouse, which is Rosemary. Um, Basically started living a typical project life, getting in trouble, being a knucklehead out there, you know, um, earned my stripes, ended up going to prison up under a generational curse. All my brothers ended up going to prison for the same thing, you know, um, got saved while I was in prison through my mom sending me Bibles and Bible verses, went through that and came home and married my high school sweetheart, got custody of my children.
Ah,
And yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's just a short synopsis of
I
this
love it.
long road travel.
I love it. And the biggest thing is that you overcame. You know,
Absolutely.
a lot of people they get stuck in the cycle, whereas you overcame the various obstacles. And I love it that you came home and married your high school sweetheart. So,
Yes.
Jean, listen, we have some individuals that are tuned in, and you all know, make sure that you like and share the podcast and comment if you are on so that I can recognize you. So, Brianna is on and she said it good afternoon, but then she came back and said, well, evening. Good evening, Brianna. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight and welcome, welcome, welcome. So, Jane,
Yes, ma'am.
breaking relationship patterns that don't serve God. I love to start all of my podcasts off with foundational scripture. So, the
Yes, ma'am.
foundational scripture is above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So it's important that we guard our heart because those simple things that if we're not careful can cause friction and conflict in our relationships if
Yes.
we do not guard our heart. What do you think about that?
I think that's true. You have to guard your heart, and a lot of times we think with our brain, but we really should be thinking with our heart sometimes. Because I believe that God is in the heart. He's in our mind too, but Yeah, and the heart is everything, and the heart can be sensitive and it can be hard sometimes. I know sometimes I've had a hard heart, and sometimes I had a sensitive heart, depending on the situation. But yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
I truly believe
Yeah.
that's true.
All right. Thank you so much. And look, Jean, while you were talking, we had some other people that tuned in. Mika Coleman is on. She said, hello, hello, Mika. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure that you like and share the podcast. Also, Roderick Williams is on. Welcome, Roderick. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we want you to go ahead and like and share the podcast as well. So, Jean, we're going to continue our conversation. So, breaking patterns, I know, starts with changing what you allow
Yes,
and
ma'am.
what you accept.
Yes, ma'am.
What you allow and what you accept, which kind of segues in one of our topics on tonight: emotional boundaries
Mm.
and work spouse culture. So, can you just talk about this particular topic just for a moment here?
You said the boundaries.
Yes, yes. Emotional boundaries in the work, about the work spouse, the work wife, work husband culture. How does that happen?
Uh, when I was going to school, my psychology teacher, she brought up an interesting topic, talking about the work wife and the work husband, and she said it was very interesting because she said most people, there's only 24 hours in a day, and so most people work 12 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours in close proximity with the opposite sex, and then you go home and you spend a couple hours with the kids, and then you sleep 8 hours, so you're only spending a little bit of time with your spouse, and then before you know it, you're conversating with the person that you're working in close proximity with, then you get to sharing secrets, and then you get to whispering, and going out to eat, and it start off friendly, and then before you know it, you're in a full-fledged affair. And so we have to guard that by putting on the full armor of God. That's what I believe. The breastplate of righteousness,
Ooh, I love it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know about that full armor, but you have to be rooted and grounded in the word. If not, that work wife and work husband going to creep in. Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. So you have to strap on that full armor every day.
Every day. You are absolutely right about that, Gene. Simply because when individuals are at work, okay, we're talking about these emotional boundaries and the work spouse culture. Like you stated, you're opening up to these individuals. If it's a
Yes,
female,
ma'am.
she's opening up to, the male versus vice versa. And you start sharing certain things. And we all know, let's face it, Gene, you're married, I'm married, other people who are watching may be married, or they may be in a committed relationship. And what happens is that we all, regardless of how long and how short we've been married, we all experience what? Conflict. You agree?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Right. So we experience that conflict, but what happens is that if you don't deal with the conflict and those unresolved issues, individuals generally will take that to the workplace
Wow.
and start confiding in the
Mm,
person of the opposite sex, telling them, "Oh yeah, things are just not going good, and we're just facing different conflict and things of that nature." That can cause issues. And
absolutely.
what I have noticed, when you're talking to a person and you're telling them your issues, that creates something. And I'm going to tell you what it creates, but let's read these comments here, okay? All right. So we got some additional comments that came in. Let's see here. Brianna stated, "Oh, emotional boundaries. Absolutely, Brianna." She also stated that that's true. Roderick said, "Amen." He was agreeing with you. And my brother is on, Dro Dawson. He is on as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, Dro. So let's continue the conversation. When I stated that you're opening up and you're talking to those individuals, you know what happens? Access creates attachment.
Wow.
What does that phrase mean to you based upon the conversation that we're having right now?
So if you open yourself up for access, you opening up yourself for somebody to be attached to you and you attached to them. That's what I get from that. Access opens up for attachment. Yes, ma'am. You got to close
It
the
does.
access if you don't want that trouble. Deny the access. Access denied.
I love that, Gene.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that because when you, like you stated, access mean here I am. What questions do you have? I told you, yes, I'm going through some things with my spouse. So now you come and check it. Is everything okay? How are things
Mm,
going now? By you sharing that one little piece of conflict with that person, now that person feel like they have a continuation and coming to ask you personal questions that creates emotional attachment. And before you know it, well, just call me anytime you're going through anything. Don't you think that sometimes happen, Gene?
absolutely. Absolutely. Snaking
I'm
their way in. Snaking their way in. That's how it
oh, say that again. What you call that again?
snaking their way in.
Snaking their way in. And why do you use that analogy, snaking
Because
their way
that's how
in? I
the
love
enemy
that.
moves, like a snake. Yeah. The enemy gonna snake his way in. And that's what I mean by that.
Wow,
That's
I
how the
love
enemy
it.
moves. And for a person to know that you're married and committed and in a relationship, married, engaged, or whatever, and you open up that access to them, they'll snake their way in every time. And it don't
Mm,
matter how long it takes for them to get it. It might take a year or two or a day or a month, but a snake moves slow and steady. You know what a
mm.
snake. Absolutely.
Did y'all hear that? Who's watching and that will watch the replay? He says a snake moves slow and steady. That's true. And before you know it, it put that venom in you. And now the venom in you, and you didn't turn from the person that you were in that committed relationship with. So I love that. Let me read some of these comments here. Um, Roderick said, good teaching. And then we have some individuals just tagging people that they know. And I'm hearing a little bit of feedback. Not sure where it's coming from, but we're going to continue the conversation here. And so, as we were talking about on tonight, access creates attachment. Crystal said, wow. Thank you, Crystal, for tuning in on tonight. All right. So, access create attachment. And then this, some affairs start with what? Access and not attraction.
Wow. Mm.
Because now you've given that person access to your personal space. You're sharing information and conflict that should be within the, I would say, within the realms of your marriage, within the realms of your relationship. Now, before you know it, that person developed these strong emotions for you. And before you know it, boom, a full blown affair has taken place. We're talking on tonight because we want to help break these relationship patterns that don't serve God. And Gene said something so important earlier. He stated that we have to put on the full armor of God. I want you all to get into the chat and share with me, how does a person get access and formulate attachment with someone when they are in a committed relationship? I want you all to share your thoughts in the comment as well. My other brother is in. Red X Dawson, he said checking in. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much for tuning in on tonight. I appreciate that. So, Gene, we're going to continue the conversation. How do you know when a work relationship crosses a line? Can you answer that for us and share your insight on that?
Well, the telling secrets that's not supposed to leave the home. Once you get to sharing them secrets, that not supposed to leave the home, and then it's actually stepping out the lunch, going out to lunch and stuff like that. It just all turns bad. It all turns bad.
I like that.
The sneakiness, you know what I mean? The putting a person number under somebody else, all that, all of it. You know what I mean? All of it is
Mm.
just sneaky. Yes,
Like,
ma'am.
like you said, that they snake their way in. And you know what, Gene, as I was hearing you talking, what came to my mind is individuals, they start off with bringing, do you want some coffee? What's your favorite drink? You want Starbucks. How many shots do you want as far as the caramel and all that other stuff? And I'm not a big coffee drinker. Do you want the macchiato or do you want a pure black coffee? I mean, how many sugars do you want? They start with those little small
Yeah.
gifts.
Yes, ma'am.
And like you said, before you know it, hey, let's go grab some lunch. And before you know it, hey, well, my husband is out of town. Well, my wife is out of town too. Well, let's meet for dinner.
Yeah.
And then from dinner, as we stated, a full blown relationship have now evolved.
And the part about it is, you're not. They don't even have to be attractive. You know, it could. They don't even have to look good to you. Your spouse could be beautiful, and they could. I'm not saying people are ugly, but I'm just saying they could be way less attractive, but it's just that time frame that you spending with them, you know, more than you spending with your spouse. So yeah, that right there, they don't even have to be that attractive. It's just the relationship, the bond that y'all building, at the workplace every day, and you spending more time with them than you do your spouse. So yeah, it could get ugly.
I love how you just stated that. Simply because, Gene, with that being stated, the bond that is being built. And we know that beauty isn't about eye of the beholder. And I like how you put that disclaimer out there. You're not saying anyone is ugly, okay? But what you were saying is that bonds is created through access.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's how it turns into something else. We got some comments coming in. Let me read these comments here. Okay. All right. I think they're just tagging some people. Okay. All right. So we're going to continue our conversation. Why are emotional boundaries? Why do you think emotional boundaries, Gene, is just as important as physical ones?
Because
Why is
it's
it
the
important?
physical starts with the emotional.
Mhm.
It starts with the emotional, then it gets physical. So if I'm pouring my heart out to you at work and you're listening and all that, then that shoulder to cry on could lead to something else. Understand
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Always
Absolutely.
does. They get you in your most vulnerable moments. When you're vulnerable. So if it's emotional and I'm having problems at home and I'm coming to work sad and you cheering me up and pat me on the back, then it just becomes physical because that person is giving you something that you're not getting at home. So the emotional turns physical. And before you know it, it all goes bad.
Yeah. We had a little stall there with the technology, so
Oh,
it kind of went out. So can you repeat that for me?
start over the
Yeah,
whole
if you
thing.
can.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Okay. What I was saying was the emotional, like if you have issues at home and you bring them to the workplace and you're emotional, to your little work wife or work husband or whatever you plan, and it starts off emotional, like, well, this, that is not working out and stuff like that. They're going to listen to you. They're going to hug on you. They're going to pat you on the back. And before you know it, it turns physical. So you see how the emotional gets physical. It takes time, but soon it all blooms into one big fire, and then that fire becomes too big to where you can't put it out, and then you
Ooh,
have crime of passions, and then you have all that, with husbands finding out and wives finding out, and people making front pages of newspapers.
making the front page of newspapers. And in the state of North Carolina, you can sue.
For crime of passion.
Yes, not for the actual committing the crime, but if your spouse, if you find your spouse committing adultery,
Mm-hmm.
I think there is some type of legality behind that where you can possibly sue that person that caused that friction or cause that divorce or whatever it's going to lead to. You can sue, if I'm not mistaken, in the state of North Carolina. My disclaimer, I am not an attorney, okay? You have to look it up or seek an attorney for that.
And you know
But
what's even more evil though?
yeah,
When children are being conceived and it's not the husband's.
that's true.
Or on the other hand, the guy getting his work wife pregnant and having a baby. That's where it really gets deep.
Very deep.
Where the wife doesn't even, the husband thinking that's his child and it's not. It's the work husband's child. Yeah, that's what really gets deep. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, it's
And
pretty.
something stood out to me, Jean, as you were talking. You stated that it can start with a simple pat on the back. It's going to be okay. And then, oh, just give me a hug. Now, this warm embrace then calls you to jump from the warm embrace into somebody else's spouse bed.
They take it to
So,
the car. They take it to the car, Miss Lenora.
oh,
That'll
geez.
work.
Well, you telling the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
You telling the truth, which is a good segue for us to read some of these comments. Okay, Jean? Brianna said, you have to say no or stop it as soon as you see it happening. I totally agree with that, Brianna. And she also stated, often we try to cover it up by laughing, but you have to know how to nip it in the bud. I definitely agree with that, Brianna. You have to know how to nip it in the bud. We had to give you some applause on that one.
Absolutely.
Had to. And then I think she helped us out here, Jean. It is called alienation of affection. That
Yeah.
is what it's called. And these are patterns, y'all. We're talking about it, right? And if we're talking about it and we're talking about the results behind it, and if you see yourself or see a friend that is currently in it, we're trying to help you out tonight by having this conversation. And it gets even deeper than that. Okay. Now we got some exclamation marks. We got some agreement here. We got some additional agreement. That's the truth. And Brianna said, oh my God, not, oh my goodness, not in the car, but they do. Oh, yeah.
At them
Whew.
plants.
At the plants, the chicken and the pig plants.
Mountain there, Smithfield, House of
Amazon.
Rachel. Come on. Come on. Can I get a witness?
My gracious. Sherry stated, tell them to take their hands off of me. Listen, remove it. You gotta move. Don't touch me. Right? Okay. Some people got that touch that it'll cause electricity to run through your body. So it's best not to even embrace. Like you said, can't touch this. Don't touch me. All right. Yashika said, hi, Yashika. Thank you so much for tuning in. She said, communication is everything. You have to create a safe place for your mate to basically show their emotions and not to go to another person. I definitely agree with that, Yashika. Create a safe space, right? And then my thing is talk about it. If you can't talk about it, write it down.
Mm.
At least write it down and say, "Hey, this, honey, I'm experiencing this. There seems to be a little bit of conflict here and there." But some people, Gene, they don't even know within the parameters of their relationship how to deal with conflict.
Wow.
So they immediately run to the other person to seek some type of resolution. Have you ever heard that before?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I agree. Sherry said, come on now, sis. All right, sis. And she said, Olive Garden unlimited soup and salad isn't She said it's not worth her marriage, Gene.
It's not.
You agree with that?
Totally.
And it's not worth her getting a good telling from her sister and her daddy and everybody else around her. So protecting the covenants, especially if you're married, protecting the relationship if you're in a committed relationship. All right, Red X said, especially when you're not good at expressing yourself. Right. If you're
Yes.
not good, that's some people have a hard time to me articulating their feelings. And especially, and Jen, you can correct me. You know what? I'm not going to speak for men. Gene, do men have a hard time expressing themselves?
Absolutely.
Why?
Uh, I guess it's a manly thing. I guess it's considered for a man to be feminine to express itself. We got to be macho and hold it in and deal with it within. But hey, I get therapy. I go to therapy. I pop me a sertraline every day, because I'm not that macho man, And I talk to my wife, and we talk about everything. We have bedroom talk, we laugh and joke, and then we, talk about serious stuff. So I open up to my wife, but it was hard to do because I've always been this macho, hold it in. But that stuff is detrimental to you. That stuff will kill you holding it all in. So yeah, it's just a manly thing. You got to be the strong one. But hey, I went and seen somebody and sat on somebody's couch, and that
Right.
helped me. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to ask you, Gene, and I know you're not a therapist, right? But I'm going
No.
to ask you from a man perspective. If a woman is in a relationship with a man, either she's married to him or she's courting him or dating him, how can she make it comfortable where he will open up and talk to her about certain things?
Um, Not be so quick to judge
Okay.
and keep it confidential. Don't go telling your girlfriends because they say every friend has a friend. So if I hear it again and I know you told, just have that safe space where I know it's not going nowhere. You know, just be solid. That's all I ask. Just be solid.
Be solid. I love it, Gene. And listen, Gene, as you were talking, you're giving some solid knowledge, and we got these comments coming in. So let me read these comments real quick, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yashika stated, many people are not friends with their mates.
Mm.
You have to like them first off to make it work. You know what, Yashika? That's huge right there because they're not friends. And generally, to me, if okay, I'm giving woman perspective. Gene, please give it from a man perspective. And if we don't agree, that is fine, Gene. That's
Okay,
why I have you on the show.
for sure.
Don't I think that a man and his wife, or the wife and her husband, should be the best of friends.
Me and my wife started dating, going to fun together. She was spending all my little block money, all the little money I made on the block at fun. And so we
Okay.
just started off as friends. And you're right, you got to be friends with your mate. That's why we've been married almost 20 years. You know, you have to be friends with your mate. And we started off eating at Miami Subs. You remember Miami Subs?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
eating that. I'm buying that chicken wings. I'm just spending all my little money on there. And we going to fun, and just having a good time. So now it's like we're best friends and we talk about anything. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So sometimes listening to what you're stating, I think in the initial part of a relationship, going back to your Shika comment and what you just stated, it's important to embrace the child inside of you. And what I mean by that, like you said, y'all went to fun. Do things together that brings out that youthfulness in both of you so that you can build that bond. Because to me, it's the most detrimental thing for a woman to be in a relationship, a man to be in a relationship with someone that they don't like or
Mm.
care for. And you're just tolerating it because you said, I do. Let me read these other
That's
comments.
torture.
It is torture.
Yeah, it's torture.
It's torture. Josh, Josh, you got me. I can help you. Okay. All right. Sherry is telling Joshua that. And Joshua said, some women take it and abuse it. Do you agree with that, Jean?
Absolutely.
Like you said, some women go tell their friends, friend tell another friend. And
Go tell
before
their
you know
mama.
it, tell they who?
Mama.
You better say so.
And mama tell her friends. And before you know it, the whole Murchison Road know.
If y'all don't know by now, Gene grew up on the Murchison Road in the Rosemary projects. But listen, he has an amazing story. We talking about relationships now, but if he tell y'all his story, oh my goodness, it's just it's very interesting. So Brianna said Josh was agreeing with you, and Gene, this is a good conversation. I'm gonna tell you it's a good conversation because I have not had any issues within my last podcast with the tech part. I don't know if it's Spectrum or not, but I'm gonna have to call Spectrum after this episode and say, listen, y'all have my podcast choppy. So
Yeah.
I need some type of credit. But listen, let me read these other comments here, okay? All right. So Brianna said Josh can express it. He just has to be in the he have to be in the mood to talk. I agree. Some men they can express it, but if they're not in the mood to have the conversation, they're not going to have it. Just like women. So, Brianna, with you making that statement, I need for you to come in the chat and give a clinician standpoint on how to make an atmosphere conducive to have a conversation. Okay. I want you to put that in the chat as I read these additional comments. Sherry said, it's the opposite with me and my husband. I have a hard time expressing myself, but my husband don't.
Mm.
See that, Jane?
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you feel like that, Sherry? Is it that you had an issue or something expressing yourself as a young child, or you express yourself as a young child oftentimes, but then got told, listen, you need to stay in your place? Because sometimes that in itself can be an internal trauma. So now you hold things in. Disclaimer, I'm not a clinician. I just have knowledge and lived experiences with dealing with people. Okay. So I think that could be possibly some of it. Not saying it's yours per se, Sherry. Okay. Red stated, focus on your husband. So you know what? Let me give you the insight of what he mean by this, Gene. So this is a baby brother of mine.
Yes, ma'am.
He said that, he has a hard time some expressing himself. So older sister said, hey, you can always talk to me. He
Mm-hmm.
comes back and clap back and tell her to focus on her husband. Don't focus on him. So I just had to kind of give you a little backdrop, make some connections there about that.
I hear you, Red. I hear you.
So Brianna said that's true, Josh. She was agreeing with you, and he agreed with you also, Jean, that therapy is key. What was the deciding factor? Okay, because we're talking about relationships, right?
Mm.
That we want to make sure they're in a positive way and not patterns that resemble negative patterns and can cause issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was key that prompted you to say, I want to go to therapy?
Realizing that I was under a generational curse.
Mm.
Just looking at, family, from my grandfather to my uncles to my siblings, all the way down to me, it's just like the same patterns. And I wanted to break that. Just getting that aha moment, that epiphany, like ding ding, that light bulb going off. Like, man, you know, everything I seen them do, I duplicated, and I just couldn't do it no more. You know, even down to the issues, the anger issues, and all that. Like, man, I need some help. And that has been the best thing for me. Therapy, on top of a little bit of medication, to keep me cool and keep me sane. It's been the
Right.
best thing ever, and my family notice it too.
I
Absolutely.
love it.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love it. And that's
Fellas,
why I
go to
tell,
therapy.
say it again.
Fellas, go to therapy.
Fellas, go to therapy. I'm not
Absolutely.
telling you, Gene is encouraging you all to go to therapy. And sometimes wives may tell their husband, okay, let's go to therapy. Or they can be in a courtship and thinking about, getting married, building a future together. And they say, let's go to therapy. I don't need no therapy.
Mm,
What I need to do, I don't need to talk to nobody for.
that's the
To
wrong
me,
thing
that's
to
a
do.
bot. Say what, Gene?
That's the wrong thing to do.
It's the wrong thing to do. And that's the wrong mindset, especially when you want to enhance and better the relationship and vice versa. We're not man bashing because I didn't say that. Gene said it. So vice versa, if the man notices that the woman needs therapy, if he asks her, let's go to therapy, then you know what? Let's go to therapy. Let me read some more of these comments, Gene. Okay. All right. So Sherry said exactly, sis. She's agreeing with Brianna. Y'all, let me put this little, let me segue into this. Can y'all leave my brother alone? Gene, they're joking my brother because he loves to take naps. So they said he don't want to talk, he want to take naps. So
Growing naps.
right, growing naps. So Sherry stated we gotta shut up and listen. That helps a man feel free to talk.
Mm.
Wow, you kept it really authentic and raw.
Not butting in, just listening, being that listening to um, comprehend what he's saying instead of to respond.
Listening to comprehend what he says versus responding.
Yes, ma'am.
So I like what you just stated there. So when a person is talking, regardless which one is talking, I believe that is so important. I'm just reiterating what you're just stating, to be quiet, not trying to overtalk that person, not yelling at that person, not calling that person out of their name. Because catch this, Gene, you stated that you wanted to break generational curses.
Yes, ma'am.
You've also had previous relationships that when you and I had a conversation prior to you, like Lenora, I broke some hearts. My heart was broken.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm sure that there could have been times where if you weren't careful, you could have brought some of that behavior from those previous relationships into your current relationship.
I did.
Talk about it.
I did. I'm still a work in progress. We all are. You know,
Right.
just as much time it took to develop those habits, it's going to take even more time to break those habits. So I'm still, a work in progress. I'm a lot better, but God is still working on me. Absolutely.
I
I
love
brought
it.
anger issues, all that, and I just sat back and realized, like, man, this is generational, because they say trauma starts in the womb. And then I was realizing that my brothers told me that my mom and dad used to fight all the time while my mom was pregnant with me, and so that
Mm.
answered everything. Once I got to talking to my therapist and she told me that trauma starts in the womb,
Wow.
and how my mom, God bless the dead, God rest her soul, you know, uh, was still partying and stuff like that while she was pregnant with me. That's why I don't like alcohol. So a lot of that stuff, I was born in the chaos. I was conceived in the chaos. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
growing up, that's all I knew was chaos, and then being a product of my environment. So I'm glad to say I'm a whole lot better. I'm not going around tearing up nothing or whatever. I still might have a little attitude from time to time, but sometimes that's just us. But for the most part, I can say I'm a different man. I know that, and my family knows that. Absolutely.
I had to give you some hand claps on that, Gene. I could have gave you some hand claps on the other ones too, but we were just in the flow of things. But as you were talking, I'm like, I gotta hit these hand claps.
Thank you.
You stated that you were conceived in chaos.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. But what you did, you decided, I'm gonna break this pattern. The relationship patterns that was presented to me even when I was in the womb, because I children can hear even in the womb. If they can eat in the womb, they can hear in the womb. Just
Yes,
like
ma'am.
my nephew, not to get too far off the subject. When my sister was carrying him, she plays the keys. She plays the organ. She
Hmm.
sings. Guess what? The boy been playing the drums since he was about 6 months old.
Wow.
But it was a difference. He wasn't conceived in chaos. He was conceived in love.
Mm.
But the thing about Eugene, you made the choice and stated it's going to stop right here.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to stop with me. So I love it. Let me read these comments because you know what, Gene? Guess what? I am behind. And Gene, oh my goodness, we've been, wow, time has went by really, really fast. Okay, so I'm going back to these comments when we were talking about friendship. They said, I agree. Having friendship is key in a relationship. Y'all take note, okay? Brianna stated, I used to do fun for dates because I need to see how you respond when you lose the game. Ooh, that's good, Gene.
Yeah, especially the air hockey. You remember the air hockey in the corner?
Yes, yes, yes. She also stated, but I'm also competitive, so I need to see that side too. Wow. So she be doing psychology
Okay.
on her dates. To the point.
Okay,
Uh-uh.
Miss Psychologist.
I'm a run. I'm gonna run from this one because this one don't know how to lose. He ready to fight me, you
Oh
know.
man.
So I love it, Bree. Or he just loves you. Okay, she stated, I love arcades and adventures. Joshua agreed and said, big fat. Sherry stated, sis, it's called the Merc. Okay, the Murchison Road.
The dirty. The dirty.
That's what they call it. That's exactly what they call it. But listen, there's a lot of great things going on the Merc now. Joshua, thank you for putting that up there in regards to earlier. Yeah, I'm calling Spectrum. They're gonna have to watch this podcast and refund me for the time that this podcast went out. So Spectrum, counter that.
Send me a little
Okay,
change, Lenora. Send me a little change now.
right. Content creator. Okay. Brianna stated, I agree, sis. She also stated, it's a combination of feeling comfortable, safe, and feeling heard that will allow the man to open up and share himself. The biggest thing for men, as you stated, is being heard. Men notices patterns and they recognize, oh, she didn't listen. She don't allow me to talk, which will naturally make them shut down internally. You agree with that, Gene?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Brianna, your LCSW is really working tonight because Gene definitely agree with you. Okay. And I agree with you too. I agree with you too. Okay. Sherry stated, sis, because I felt if I don't say anything, then I don't have to worry about it going nowhere. Okay. So that's why you did not want to open up because if you don't say anything, then it won't spread. Like as Gene stated, people tell somebody because they have friends. Okay. She stated, I'm loving this podcast. Me too, Sherry. All right. I have the one and only Gene Jr. Okay, y'all.
Remember the name. Remember the name.
Remember the name, y'all. He's a content creator and his story. Oh my goodness, y'all. All right. He's just giving y'all a little bits and pieces of his story, okay? So Yashika stated, you're absolutely right. Your childhood can affect the way you express yourself. Sometimes over talk because I won't hurt as a child. I definitely agree that, Yashika. Definitely agree that. Sherry said it, since we're going to have to bring Gene Jr. back. Uh-oh, Gene. If one of my producers is stating it, okay, Gene.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. And he's so cool, calm, and collect with it. I love it. Okay. Joshua put some sirens up there. And Brianna said, yes, amazing podcast. Okay. She's agreeing with Yashika back there. Fellas, go to therapy. All right. I didn't say it. Junior stated it, and Brianna echoed it. Okay. All right. Brianna said, I'm learning to simply listen to understand. And if I don't understand, ask questions. But I would say if you ask questions, the person on the opposite side can't feel like you're intimidating them. You just want clarity.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
That's all. That's all. And let me tell you something. One thing I noticed about me, Gene, when I was younger, and then when I got in relationships, when people came at me, like for example, my sister would tell you this. When we were younger, she would like, we all had a little symbol in rivalry at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
She would like try to make me mad, and I would laugh. That used to get up under her skin. And I took that same mechanism. And when I was in relationships, I was in a lot of them, right? I wasn't in a lot of relationships. Probably count them on one hand. Okay. That's how I was. I just didn't want a lot of issues in life. But to get back to the story, I would laugh. I would smile. And that would irritate the other person to the fullest. But I'm letting them know you're not going to cause me to come out of my character and meet you where you're at. If you're yelling, please stop yelling. I can have a conversation. You tell me something that you don't like about me, whomever it is, taken out of even like a relationship, whomever it is, just don't yell at me. That is one of the biggest triggers that I have.
A person yelling at you?
Yes. I cannot stand it. It feels like physical abuse to me.
So you don't yell at people?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I don't. No, I don't. I just don't like it. Because when it gets to a certain octave, I feel like it's going to become physical. That's how I imagine in my head. So I'd rather for a person not to yell at me at all.
Yeah. You feel like it's starting that fire and it's soon going to spread. And,
yes. Yeah,
for sure.
And it does a lot to really, people would tell you, the ones that know me, it takes a lot to really make me upset. Because I keep cool. Right? Yes, but ma'am. Yelling, All right, off of me, back to relationships, back to this podcast and these comments. Gene, you want to say anything? I've been talking a lot. You haven't had a chance to talk because these comments been coming in. So say something, Gene.
I've been talking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I can read these comments.
Keep yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. All right. So Brianna also stated, I'm learning. Okay, I read that already. Sherry said it. Ain't nothing wrong with the meds, therapy, and a bowl of Jesus.
Boy. Well, almond milk, though.
With almond milk. Gene said, don't drink that cow milk. Your stomach gonna be bubbling, so drink some almond milk. Okay. Brianna said, we love therapy. She also stated it's generational and learned behaviors. I agree. Sherry also stated, oh, wow, that's deep. It took a while to learn those habits, so it's going to take a while to release those habits.
Yes, ma'am.
True. And my brother, he loves this conversation. And Gene, I think this is the longest he stayed on.
Okay.
Joshua, I'm just playing. I think you stayed on longer than this, but yeah. Okay. All right. So he made a choice. This is what you said earlier. You made a choice, Gene.
Yes, ma'am.
Gene, can you okay, Gene, we'll have to bring you back. Okay. All right. Look, Gene, some of your people are on.
That's my pastor.
Jeremy, go. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my pastors.
The Honorable Pastor Jeremy Golden, Reverend Jeremy Golden.
Eastgate, Charlotte. Yes.
All right. Welcome, Pastor Golden. He said, major testimony and a solid brother. Listen, I absolutely agree with you, Pastor Golden. He is very, very solid. What you see of Gene is what you're going to get. And Gene is very transparent, too. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Very transparent.
Still a work in progress. Still got a couple of,
We all are, Gene.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We all are. Listen, we got some big fat hands coming up, and Sherry Girl froze with the mouth wide open, laugh out loud. Yeah, because I was looking like, what is going on? So I didn't know y'all saw that part. Okay. So Red X say it's a difference between asking questions. Uh-oh. And what, Gene? What do you have down here?
Nagging.
Can you talk on this, Gene, from a man perspective?
Asking questions and nagging. Boy, nagging, that's an old school word right there. But yeah, yeah, it is a difference because you can ask me something out of being curious, and then you can nag about something. You know what I mean? Or turn the tables and make the conversation about you. I've been in relationships where I had issues and I tried to open up, but then they turn it around and make it about them. So yeah, that's what that nagging can turn into. Then the conversation goes back. It's about you and not about me, and that's what makes it hard for men to open up too. Absolutely.
I agree. I agree. All right. So Brianna wants to speak for me here in the comments since she's a clinician. And she stated, the reason why I do not like yelling is because I've been in many fights. So yelling is a trigger for her. And because of the platform that I have, let me let you all know regarding the fights. The fights were never anything that I initiated. Okay. And I will recommend that you grab my book, Fighting from Darkness: How Long Will You Color Greatness, so that you can get insight on how those fights started. Y'all like that plug? Y'all thought y'all was going to get intel. No, go buy the book. How you like that, Gene? Was that a good pitch?
Absolutely. Sell the
Okay.
book. Sell the book.
Yes, 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 yes. And here's my sister. See, she said, no, Gene, she doesn't yell at people. She will talk stern and then she will walk away.
Hold up. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you yell on that pool pit?
I minister with passion.
Okay.
So what is yelling on the pulpit? Do you consider that whooping? Have you heard that terminology, whooping? WHOOPING?
No.
Okay. So that is a form of like within the black church of ministry. So there is a level of like sternness
Yes, ma'am.
and authority and a little bit elevated,
Yes, ma'am.
but some people may call it yelling. I don't.
Okay. I would just
Gene,
ask.
really, Gene? Really, Gene? Gene, you gonna do that to me? Okay, okay. All right, fair and square, Gene, fair and
I
square.
seen some of your sermons. Now you get down. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I do
I
now.
went
I
down the
listen.
rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love ministry though. Ministry is who I am. As you stated earlier, and not to ride your wave, you said you were conceived in chaos. Well, I was conceived in ministry. And what I mean by that, both of my parents were ministers.
Hmm.
Both of them were married.
Hmm.
So all of us, all five of my siblings, which is very rare sometimes in certain cultures, all of us came from the same mother and father.
That's amazing.
So, but just because you come from the same mother and father don't mean you make the same choices.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's the answer to that. Okay. Um, Red X said, "Don't let her fool you. She will knock
Oh,
your
huh.
head off." Just kidding.
With
No,
a
I
name,
won't.
hey,
Huh?
with a name like Lenora, you got hands. I already know.
No, I just have sternness and firmness, but I'm very, what you see is really what you get, believe it or not. What you see is what you get. And when it comes to business, certain part of business, when I'm handling and doing certain things, I am very like no nonsense, let's get it done. Like if I'm running an event, things of that nature.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
what you see is what you get. But I do have that sternness side. And Brianna, you know what? I'm gonna have to ignore y'all comments coming in here, okay? And we'll see, Jean, you to open up a can of worms here.
That's
Cora
why
is on. She said, "Go ahead, Jean."
I said that's why I didn't play with your time. I was on time.
Yes, you were. You were. Cora's on. She said, "Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so
Good
much,
evening.
Cora, for joining." Brianna said, "Yes, promote the book." Hello, I have books that still need to be sold, and yeah. And she said, "Yes, she does, Jean." Mouth wide open. Okay, they were talking about. Oh, See there, Jean? Jean, you just open up a can of worms. Look at these comments. Jean, your beautiful wife is on.
You see our picture?
Yes, Kenya Moorhead, the beautiful Kenya Moorhead. I'm so glad I got down to these comments, Kenya. Kenya's on. Welcome, Kenya. Thank you so much for allowing your husband to be a part of this podcast. She said, what about fair fighting and hitting below the belt and how that can affect a relationship? You want to answer that, Jean?
Yeah, I can answer it. And in the honeymoon stages, we had to work them kinks out. I've hit below the belt. She's not really a hit below the belt type of person. But like I said, me being born into that chaos, I seen hit below. My mama take it there. You go high, you know where she go.
Ooh,
Below the belt to the
wow.
shoes. I promise you. So yeah, those are learned behaviors that I learned seeing my mom go below the belt. So when I get married in my honeymoon stages, we get to arguing. That's what I'm going for because I learned from my mom. You know what I mean? I wasn't raised by
Right,
my father, so yeah. And
right.
and we had a talk about it. She said, Eugene, you really hit below the belt sometimes, and sometimes some of that stuff be hard to forgive, but you have to. So
Yeah,
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 publicly, I apologize again.
yeah,
I take full
yeah,
accountability for that.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And you know what, Jean? That's why even with me, when my sister stated that I say what I need to say in a very stern way and walk away, because I realize that words truly hurt.
They cut
I
deep.
mean, they cut deeper. They cut sometimes deeper than a physical knife cut.
Let me tell
And they
you a little.
go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead.
I'll just tell you a little joke about how serious my mom was. So, of course, when I was kind of in the streets, I used to take care of my mom. Like, I used to pay her bills and stuff like that. So, my mama didn't have to worry about anything. So, when I got out the streets, transitioning to being a productive member of society, working a 9 to 5, making $9 an hour, I remember, giving my mom a couple of dollars. I used to try to give her at least like 10% out of my check and send it home. And so we got to talking, and I said, well, we was talking about money or whatever. And I said, Mom, I'm sending you, I'm trying to send you, 10% of my check, $40. And she said, boy, what that? HE double hockey sticks is $40. And it made me feel so low because,
Wow.
here I am trying, to take care of mama. And she was like, what is $40?
Wow.
And I felt so that's the kind of below the belt stuff, that I'm talking about. She cut me right there. I'm trying
Yeah.
to, do a little something, but she like, nah, what's $40, boy? You better bring me some more money. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
So
that goes,
you can see where I got that from, cutting
yeah.
deep below the
And,
belt.
and I'm gonna skip ahead to some comments, but I'm gonna come back to the other comments that were made. It
Okay.
goes to this. It was a learned behavior. You basically mimic what you saw. And it came in, and that's why, Jean, real quick, and I'm gonna read other comments. It's important, as I said in the last week podcast, you need to know what type of relationship they have with their mom. If they had a relationship with their dad, what was it like? What was the mother and father relationship like? I don't care if they were co-parenting or if they were married. What was that relationship like? Because that is a learned behavior that child gleans from and they reenact when they get married or in a relationship. So that's important to have those conversations so you know what you're dealing with. And if they say, well, you know what, I'm gonna just be honest, I came up hard. If I hear you came up hard and you haven't healed, to therapy we go.
Boy.
I don't care how fine you are.
Man, look, it's a lot of. I tell people all the time, don't be falling in love with them social media pictures. Now, I'm telling you.
You
It's
get
a lot
catfish.
behind them pretty pictures.
It is. Because some people have a lot of mental baggage.
Absolutely. And you can't see that on no picture, on no
You can't.
profile.
You can't. You have a disagreement. A man have a disagreement with a woman. You wake up the next day to go outside and go to work. All four of your tires cut.
A Snickers bar in your gas tank.
Oh Lord, I've never heard that one. I remember. Well, I can't call her out, but somebody I knew, they were talking to somebody, and this person wasn't. I kind of start seeing some mental instability there, and
Mm-hmm.
they knocked on the person's window. I'm like, what in the world? Honey, get rid of them. Get rid of them. Okay. So let me read these other comments and we got to wrap it up, Gene. We have to have a
Mm-hmm.
part two. Okay. We got some laughing emojis. Coach Billy Crutcher is on. Hi, Coach Billy. She said, it is. She is direct. I agree. Compassionate. I agree. Assertive. I agree. And spirit filled. I agree. What a wonderful description of Lenora. I love it. I love it. All right. Sherry is giving Kenya a shout out and they're having some conversation in the chat. And
I
they
see you.
said, it's good to meet you well online. All right. Red X stated, I know my mouth can be lethal at times, especially when you allow stuff to build up. Jean.
Yeah,
The mouth.
that's all hitting below the belt.
Lethal means cutting you wide open,
Yeah,
like gutting a fish. Once
for
you
sure.
gut that fish, you can't put that fish back. And you know what I learned from this lady and also my mother? Words, lethal words is just like toothpaste coming out of a tube.
Mm.
Once you squeeze it out, Jane, you can't put it back in there.
Wow.
It's out. So that's why my mom used to tell us, Lord knows I miss that lady so much.
Tell me
I
about it.
appreciated that God still allowed my father to be here and to be in our lives. But my mom used to tell us, she said, sometime as women, also men, but she used to get us as a woman. She said, go put some water in your mouth and hold it. But I have to be transparent at times, even in relationship. You be like, I'm spitting this water out and I'm going to say what I have to say.
You remember when we used to swish back in school?
Yes, that nasty pink stuff, Jean.
And you had to hold it. Yeah.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
get the little cup. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Hold it.
Listen, Jean, I'm going to read these other comments real quick. Sherry
Yes,
said at $40 is $40, Sean. My dad would take it real quick. Absolutely. Billy Crutcher said, yes, words cut to the psyche and are implanted in the memory due to emotional anchors. Words destroy and wars start that way.
Wow.
I agree. I agree, Coach Billy. And even back in the days, in regards to, we're talking about relationship patterns, right? That we want to break. So when we say certain words back in the days, didn't we used to say, Gene, them fighting words?
Yeah.
There were certain words we didn't say. Yo mama.
Yo mama.
That was the main phrase.
Don't let my grandmother be deceased. Man, I got expelled for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
My grandma just died and the joker says your grandma, man. I flipped that West Area Elementary on Pamela.
West Area. Look, they probably got the brick or something still laid around there with Gene Jr. Look, Gene, we got to play this commercial. I'm gonna read these other comments and we're gonna wrap it up. Let me play this. I have to play this commercial.
Ma'am.
Okay. All right. Paid promotional services here. Okay. Luxury isn't just a look, it's a feeling. And every moment deserves to be captured in its most timeless form. At Bougie Brie Photography, confidence meets the camera. Every pose, every detail becomes unforgettable. Whether you're stepping in front of the lens or into the spotlight, your beauty becomes cinematic, transformed into visuals that move you. And when it's time to celebrate, strike, smile, shine. Our luxury photo booth turns every event into a bold, unforgettable experience. Your story is more than a moment.
It's artistry, it's emotion, it's you, captured with intention and elevated with elegance. So whether it's photography, videography, or a high-end photo booth, let's create something iconic. Book your luxury experience today. Bougie Brief Photography, where your confidence meets the camera.
All right. So, Jean, that young lady you asked me about, who actually does your editing and etc. That's who does it. Bougie Brief Photography. All right. She does great work.
Yes.
Okay. Let me read these other comments here. Okay. So, because we got some good ones. Oh my goodness. Woo, y'all are very engaged tonight. Okay. Sherry stated that is why you need to talk to your big sister, aka second mama. So she having a whole conversation with my brother about him talking. Okay. Because they know he I call him the quiet giant,
Mm-hmm.
the gentle, quiet giant, and you just don't want to awake.
Yeah.
So, like you said, therapy is key, and he's very transparent. He share, listen, I go to therapy. Okay, all right, nothing wrong with that. And he's back in the chat. He said, yes, that's important. Learning parents' behavior, that is important too. All right. So, Coach Billy Crutcher said yes on learn behavior, and it's a choice. Okay, it's a choice to unlearn. And you mentioned that earlier, Gene. You say, you know what? I am going to make a change. I'm stopping right here because you have a beautiful family.
Yes, ma'am.
Three beautiful girls and one son, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And a beautiful wife, Kenya, that we met here in the chat. So I love that. Okay. Coach Billy stated, again, we read that. Brianna stated, you have to let it out. The more you do, you'll get a little bit more comfortable in communicating about it. I love that. Coach Billy said, you don't know a person well until you have had a real disagreement. The representative leaves and the real you will show up. I totally agree with that. And I
Absolutely.
talked about that last week. It's important when you are talking, when you're dating someone, you need to have a disagreement. Like Brianna stated earlier, she used to take her dates to fun to see how they handle a loss or how competitive they are. You need to have a disagreement. Don't just provoke them to cause them to go off, but see how they handle conflict. That's important. Okay. Yashika stated you have to smirk them. Talk about sex, money, intimacy, religion, kids. You have to align on these topics. You sure do.
You have
Gene,
to get your non-negotiables, man. You have to, a lot of times that stuff is based on physical. You just, the physical part, and then you done married a whole monster because you didn't go over the non-negotiables. This what I'm not going for right here. I'm not going for this. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like that. You just looking at the pretty face or the muscles or
come on.
the money and all that. But you have to go over it. And that's why I tell my son, like when you get in a relationship with a girl, you gotta, tell her what you like and don't like and what you're going for and not going for. That's
That's
important.
right. That's right. Because you know what? Like you said, you'd been in married a month, so you thought you had a genie in a bottle and you want to bottle that genie back up and throw it in the ocean. All right. Sherry stated, Mama would say there is more than what's between the sheets. Listen, keeping it real and authentic and clean, you're absolutely right. It
Yeah.
is more. My mama used to say, between the sheets, I ain't going to pay the bills. You
Yeah.
got to get up and go pay some bills. So it's more than that attraction. And like
Mhm.
Yashika stated, you got to have those conversations about those topics. Coach Billy said we must be aware of what and how we say things. You can't take it back. This is a needed conversation. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. And Billy Crutcher said, yep, your mama was a fight and another beat down. Shaking my head. Totally agree with that. Real quick, y'all, I have to play this amazing video. You all watch it. I had an amazing event. This video was done by no other than the phenomenal Bougie Brief Photography. Take a look. Some of you have experienced so much trauma dealing and loving the wrong man. So it took her having an encounterment with God to realize my love is not tied to what's back there in my house. In order to pour in yourself, you got to learn how to receive. I'm surrounded by my sisters. I'm going to pour into myself. I'm going to glean all of this information that God is pouring into me. And once I glean this information and I eat and I digest it, I'm going to raise my hand and say, Lord, I thank you for replenishing me. Lord, I thank you for loving me. Lord, I thank you for keeping me in my right. What? Woo!
Powerful.
Was that the yelling you were talking about earlier?
Yes, ma'am. Nah, very strong, very stern. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I have a
Strong.
very strong voice too. And that's from my mom. My mom had a very, very strong and powerful voice, like the voice commands a room type
You got
voice.
that Shirley Caesar voice.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. So Joshua stated, I'm glad a lot has changed though. Me too. Sherry also stated, Lord, come back to us, Gene, talking about this grandmama and taking him back. My God. Okay. All right. Cora stated, yes, once the words go out, you can't put it then back in. So important. Be careful what you state. All right. Sherry stated, done married a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I know that's right. Y'all listen, I got to get Gene a break because he been drinking water and he probably hungry too. Kenya stated, or you ignore the red flags. Hello, Kenya. Absolutely right. All right, Brianna put some information out there about bougie brief photography and capturing the moments the natural eye can't see. That is her wheelhouse, y'all. She's phenomenal. Yashika says she loved it. And Brianna said, awesome job, sister. Cora says she loved it too. Jean, listen, we can be on here another hour. But
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know you have two beautiful daughters at home and you have a beautiful wife. And I know they are waiting for you to get off this live so they can reconvene with you. So, Gene, do you have any further words before we end the podcast?
I just want to tell everybody to stay encouraged and stay blessed. And for my kings out there and queens, seek therapy if you feel like it's a problem. And don't be afraid to talk it out with your therapist. And always know that some therapists may not be the right fit. So you might go through 2 or 3 or 4, like I did, until you find that right one. And God bless everybody.
God
Gene,
bless.
yeah.
Thank do that again because I was over talking you. How do you do your end this, Gene?
Glad to say Gene Jr.
Gene Jr.
Absolutely. Yes,
That's
ma'am.
him, y'all. This man has an amazing story. Listen, we already got a request. This is the lady that helps me put my production and guests together. So
Yes,
she
ma'am.
said, we got to bring you back. We got to bring you back. Okay.
I
Y'all have a
said,
good night. Y'all follow Gene Jr. He puts out some good stuff. All right. Make sure that you follow him. Great guy, overcame a lot. I cannot wait until Gene Jr. come out with his book. Y'all have a good night. Take care.
Take care.